I'm Jay Porter, and I fight for truth, justice, and the right to wear spandex. Good evening, Vallejo! How about a little energy? People in the back go, what the hell? So I'm a little confused tonight. I thought I was showing up to audition for like a new TV reality show, America's Next Great White Rapper Over 60. I recently retired, I had plans. I wanted to be an Instagram influencer. I just didn't want to have the boob job. And here I am, inflation's killing me. I think I'm going to set up like an OnlyFriends site and sell pictures of my feet. That's because there's some sick people who are into what I call S&M. You know what that stands for? Sandals and moccasins. Anybody here with a birthday tonight? Nobody here with a... I got a call from the agency today. And they said these people couldn't afford the Gladiator. And they couldn't afford the Cowboy. They said, well, send hunky old Santa Claus. So here I am. You know, I'm trying to stay healthy. I go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. I lift weights, don't laugh. But I got some problem with the attire that some of the young women wear. The flesh-toned, skin-tight yoga shorts. Or as I call them, camel toe accentuators. I drop my freaking barbells. And, you know, I'm trying to diet too. I'm taking up a new diet. Saw it on social media, the wine diet. I've already lost 3 days. But honestly, folks, I'm trying to do better. You know, here we are, Thanksgiving. I saw some friends and family I hadn't seen in a while. The carbohydrate family. Potatoes. Sweet potatoes. You know there's this white fluffy substance called bread. And they got this liquid carbohydrate that they pour over everything called gravy. And the day after Thanksgiving, you know, we start decorating. My wife and I, we've picked up a lot of nativity scenes over the years. We exhibit it inside the house, you know, at least one a year. So this year we broke out a ceramic set we hadn't put out in a while. So we break out Mary and Joseph and the shepherds and the wise men. And we got a couple of sheep and a cow. And then we pull out a donkey. Get down to the last piece, almost as big as the donkey. And then I go, sweet baby Jesus, 60-pound baby Jesus. No wonder Mary's sitting there kneeling in prayer. That's why the Catholics made her a saint. Good grief. So speaking of family, I'm going to tell you a little story here. I'm going to tell you a story about traveling to visit some family a few years ago. So my wife and I, we like to take road trips. And generally that involves a plane flight. It involves renting a car, putting 2,000 miles on the car. And we visit a couple of national parks. So one time when we went to Yosemite, we visited my, at that time, 96-year-old, my wife's 96-year-old Uncle Bill in Montana. And we had a couple of run-ins with TSA on this flight. And you're going to figure out my wife was a whole lot smarter than I was. So anyway, we go back to Montana. Now, Uncle Bill, living freaking legend. 96 years old, Pearl Harbor survivor. LAPD, one of their first helicopter pilots. Anybody here remember Charlie Manson? Guy freaking arrested Charlie Manson. So guys like that, they don't stop. They're reinventing themselves. Age 96, new career, prairie dog sniper. Went out, got a military-grade sniper rifle, and took out prairie dogs from 600 yards away on the cattle ranches. Last day we're there, we're in the garage. He shows my wife his prairie dog sniper rifle. She picks it up. She looks down the sight. She's hunted when she was younger, didn't think it, feel the trigger. 10 hours later, we're in the Salt Lake City airport. She's made part of a random TSA search. And they go, ma'am, you have gunpowder residue underneath your fingernails. Now my wife doesn't raise her hand and go, excuse me, I was with my uncle, the prairie dog sniper this morning, holding a sniper rifle. She goes, oh really? Could you imagine? Well, who would have thought? A few minutes later, the TSA guy comes back and says, ma'am, it just must have been a false positive. Go about your day. Then on another leg of the trip, I wasn't as smart. You see, when guys my age, we get a little older, we develop a leakage problem. And we wear what's called a pee pad. So, I don't think any of it. I got up that morning, I put on my pee pad. I go to the airport, I go through, I'm used to a little extra wanding because I got an artificial knee, an artificial hip, probably a plate in my head. So they do the extra wanding. And then the TSA agent starts wanding around my crotch in a circle and patting me down in a circle around my crotch. And this continues, and this continues. And then I look behind me on the screen, there's a white rectangle over my crotch. And at that moment, I knew I was a suspected pee pad terrorist. The wanding continues. The padding continues. And I told you I wasn't smart. I said, excuse me, sir, if you will just allow me to reach into my pants, I can pull out my pee pad, you can examine it, and we can all go about our day. Well, one cannot be brandishing a pee pad of mass destruction at the airport. So this TSA agent does what any good TSA agent would do. He called his supervisor, and he was not a supervisor by accident. The first thing he noticed, I was wearing a belt. So he made me take my belt off. And then he started to frisk me vigorously along the sides. And then my pants started to fall off. Out of the goodness of his heart, he allowed me to place one hand at my side, one hand in the air. The frisking continued, the wanding continued, the patting continued. After a couple of minutes, I turned around, I looked for the one person I could depend on in my life. My wife of nearly 40 years. I looked behind me, and she had turned her back on me and was quarreling in laughter. The patting continued, then he informed me of an official TSA maneuver called the crotch grapple. After the appropriate crotch grappling was performed, I was told that I could proceed. I walked forward, stumbling, my shoes off, my pants still about to fall off. I didn't know if I needed a cuddle or a cigarette, but as God is my witness, I will never wear a pee pad to the airport again. Thank you.